Welcome to a playoff edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Kleinknecht here, and of course, head coach Scott Langer joining me as usual. Coach, congrats on a sweep there in North Iowa and clinching a playoff spot, but then on top of that, with a little help from St. Cloud advancing in this seeding. And boy, a big weekend for sure. You had a 6-2 win on Friday night, and I mean, a really strong second and third period, it seemed like, and special teams were a big factor in a lot of ways too, and we talked about that a little bit before the game on Saturday night. But no doubt a message was discipline to the team as well, because they've got something to play for where North Iowa really didn't. But let's break down, if we can, the Friday night game before we get to Saturday night. But a lot to take away from that, and a lot of positives, certainly offensively.
Yeah, I think the first period was a little feeling each other out, and then obviously in the second period we started to dictate the play a little more and played with the puck a little more, and we were better defensively. So that allowed us to get on the board and have a little confidence. And you've seen some big time play at Isaac Holmstrom and Gibber Cool. I think Holmstrom had 3 or 4 points in that game alone. So it was a good game. Our guys knew they had to win the game, and sometimes that's not always a good thing,
right?
Mentally. But our guys were up to the challenge and figured out a way to get it done.
Great game there Friday, and as we talked about, you clinched that playoff spot, with that win on Friday, but the seeding was still up for grabs. Is it going to be 4? Is it going to be 3? Who are you going to face? Minot, you knew you were going to North Dakota, but it was either Minot or Bismarck, and it was St. Cloud beating Austin, and then you guys come down and really a nail biter. I mean, that was a really intense game Saturday night. I was joking around with some people that I needed some heart medication or some high blood pressure pills or something, because that was a really exciting game there on Saturday night, and a lot of physicality, a lot of tussles, a lot of stuff, which pretty typical with that group, to be perfectly honest. But you come away with a 3-2 game there. Your thoughts on Saturday night's matchup? Did you did you see the same things on Friday night, I should say, that you saw on Saturday night, and the positives?
Yeah, I did. We had to do it a different way. We had quite a few veteran players out of the lineup, and we were going with some youth, and I thought those guys brought some good energy. I thought obviously Flaherty scores the first goal of the game under the bar. I mean, that's huge for us, because when their goaltending is on, they give us some fits, or they had given us some fits. So scoring that first one I think it was the first shot of the game.
I think it was 32 seconds in, actually.
Yeah, it gave us some confidence, and obviously they answered back a little bit, but I thought for the most part the game was in control. The way the game was called, right from the get-go, they start their fourth line, they're shaking their hands at our guys like they want to jump us, and all the stuff that goes into garbage hockey. But our guys found a way through it, and at the end of the day, they moved up a spot in the standings, and they earned it.
Certainly did. There was, I keep going back to discipline, because I watched those games and I just kept thinking to myself, they are looking for something. I mean, I'm going to call a guy out shouting for example, he was looking, he would skate around just chasing guys and trying to pull them in, and grabbing jerseys and doing all kinds of stuff, and your guys, they knew that they needed to keep their nose clean, and it was a really, I was impressed with the discipline. Perhaps until the very end of Saturday night, when I'm like, go into the locker room, just get to the locker room. But anyway, a big time game, big time win. But we're moving on. And, do you feel like trending in the right direction? This team, and I've used this term, man, I feel like so many times over the course of this year, and with you talking here on Wings Weekly, and, even in pregame interviews and everything else, roller coaster. It's so up and down. So, this year, can you sustain that level and trend in that direction where everybody is heading, that way as you go into the first round against who we now know is Bismarck?
Well, it's not really a choice, do we? I mean, if we're going to have any success, we better trend really quickly. Bismarck has played really well against us, so I'm sure they're full of confidence, and our guys have to just believe that if they play to their game, play to their structure, and our goaltending stays where it's at, that we can give them a tough test. So, our guys were up to the challenge of getting there and moving up in the standings over the weekend. So, I think we're up to the challenge. We have a lot of inexperience in this locker room, that haven't played in a lot of playoff games. So they just have to forget it, go in there, play their best hockey, play hard, play heavy, and see what the result is.
Well, it's kind of interesting, statistically speaking. You've beaten Austin 8 times. They are the 4 seed. Minot is the number 1 seed. You've beaten them 4 times. And Bismarck, who is the 3 seed, or the 2 seed, excuse me, as the Wings go in as a 3 seed, have not had any success against this year. What needs to change? Is there a mentality thing? Do you think that gets in their head a little bit, or something like he said? If you're, you've got to be up to it. If you're not up to it, then there's no point in moving forward. But what's got to be different?
Well, I'm not a psychologist. There's guys that get paid a lot of money to be sports psychologists, so I'm not good in that area. So I can't tell you if it's something that just lives in the brain or not. I mean, they have a good hockey team. They've played us really well, and they've had a lot of puck luck. They've had a lot of fortune. When they have played us, have we played our best games? Absolutely not. But we have to change that. We have to go into their building, which is hard to win in, and we have to find a way to get wins. I mean, we've been able to do it before with our franchise with teams that weren't supposed to even survive in this division and found a way to the Robertson Cup. So if you're asking me, I think we can go in there and play them really well, and we're going to prepare this week for that Friday night game, and we're going to throw everything we have at them.
I believe. Well, I like the way you said that, because that is the truth. There we have, and you said it. I've said this every time people ask me about it. I've said, Wings went in as a 4 seed 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and knocked off number 1 Minot at the time, and went on to the Frozen Four and into a semifinal game. So it's always possible. There's no denying that. And this is a good hockey team when they play well. I noticed an empty parking lot out here when I pulled in. How does the week look as far as preparation goes? You give them some time off, you want to get healthy, do you work, what are you working at as you prepare for this Bismarck team, who again is, as you said, and there's no denying, a very good hockey team.
Yeah. We worked today, we went out and we worked today, so tomorrow we'll get back at it again. It's going to be a normal work week. Okay. We're changing everything. As far as I'm concerned, Friday we won't have the same structure. So if they're watching us on tape and digging deep into tape, they won't see the same structure that we've showed them over the last 12 games. So other than that, we're just gonna keep it simple, keep it short. I don't think at this time of the year going extended hours and bagging your players is the way to go. They need to be mentally and physically ready to go at drop of the puck on Friday night.
Well, that answers it. I mean, and you're 100%. You can't really understand or explain it any better than what you just did. The reality is, at this point in the season, this is what we've got. You've got to be ready. You got to be. Get yourself healthy. Stay mentally prepared. Stay physically prepared. All of those things for sure. This game, this last couple of games actually, Saturday for sure, in North Iowa, there in Mason City, had the intensity. The game itself had an intensity that felt a little bit like a playoff game. The atmosphere, not so much. Granted, they've got 11 wins on the season. There's not a lot of excitement there. The place was pretty empty. The atmosphere in Bismarck's going to be a whole different thing. and you mentioned it, you're not a sports psychologist. Heck, I'm not either. But is there a way that you can kind of prepare the team for that? Do you add music or something like that when you're playing, some noises or whatever else? Because it is going to be a raucous environment there in the VFW Center in Bismarck, because of the intensity versus what you just came from. Now again, the play resembled playoff. The atmosphere did not. Can you prepare for that?
Yeah, I think you can. I mean, we'll work through it. I think that's the exciting part, is they do a good job there with their venue and what they have going on there. So I think that's the fun part of playing in it, playing in front of someone else's crowd. Hopefully there's people from our group that make their way up there.
I'm sure there will.
Their way up there to support our guys, but to me, I don't hear anything. So, I mean, I want to, our guys shouldn't have to hear much either. Just play the game, worry about communicating with one another, and trying to find the result that we're headed there for. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't hear anything, so it doesn't matter.
All right, final question. Keys. What's it going to be? Obviously, goaltending has been huge for you guys. Croy Kokendorfer had some huge saves. There was a monster left leg kick save that he made that was just super impressive on Saturday night. And DeBall, as the MVP of this team, awarded that award this 2 weeks ago. Anyway, they both played very well. They are going to be very important. Clearly, defensively, you've got to be strong in front of them. And then solving their goaltending. Clearly, those are some keys. What else do you see?
Oh, you hit them all.
I hit them all?
We'll go with your keys today.
Whoa, look at that. What, 7 years and this guy's giving me the keys? No.
Well, you answered your own question.
I kind of did.
So, a goaltender is, any playoff team that's going to win games in the playoffs is going to have really good goaltending.
Yeah.
If you don't have the goaltending, then you don't have the success, and that's over 20-something years of being in the playoffs. So, and guys need to step up. There needs to be leadership there in the playoffs. Guys need to get their game going right away. You don't have time to settle into a series. You get one chance on Friday night, you get another chance on Saturday night, and then you get one more chance on Friday night. You know what I'm saying? So it's you don't have time to ease in. You go after it. You lay it on the line. If you're going to get hurt, at least you get hurt playing the game you love. Just go and lead.
Well, there is no tomorrow, technically speaking. I mean, like you said, it's a different thing midway through the season. But as for a lot of these guys, they're aging out or they're moving on to a collegiate career or whatever it might be. It's game time and playoff. That's playoff hockey, man. That's where you just the intensity in. It intensifies that much. I was asked this earlier this morning by somebody, and I just thought, wow, it really is a different beast, playoff hockey, and that is, we're looking forward to that for sure. We'll run through the nuts and bolts of it as far as the games and stuff go in just a little bit here, but as Coach just mentioned, you have Friday, Saturday in Bismarck, guaranteed back here at the ODI Center on the following Friday. Game 3. Now game 4, hopefully there is a game 4, or maybe, I shouldn't say hopefully, because maybe, the Wings sweep Bismarck 3 games. Then there isn't. But if there's a game 4, it's here Saturday night, and then game 5 if necessary. So that's kind of the breakdown, but again, we'll run through that in just a little bit here too. Coach, thank you so much. I know as far as preparation goes, the work that you guys put in all year long, in players and scouting and all of these things, but certainly when it comes to playoff, your focus is laser at the next game, because that's all that matters right now. So I appreciate you taking a little journey with us and taking some time to talk with us and with the people that are watching Wings Weekly. So thank you.
Thanks, Trey.
Good luck against the Bobcats. All right, thanks to you, and we will be back in just a moment here coming up with a player coming up in our second portion right after this.
City Lights Bar and Event Center is your official home for the Aberdeen Wings. Stop down for an ice cold beer or drink and choose from one of the many excellent food options on their menu, available for both lunch and dinner. And when your Aberdeen Wings are on the road trying to earn their way back to the Robertson Cup Championship, come on down to City Lights and watch the away games as the audio and video are streamed live. City Lights Bar and Event Center, the official home for the Aberdeen Wings on South 2nd Street, just south of the overpass in Aberdeen.
The second portion of Wings Weekly starts now, and again, we've got a player joining us, and thankfully, they've got a little bit of time that they're able to spend with us. So we are joined by this time by Ryan Flaherty of Edina, Minnesota, and man, huge goal for starters. 32 seconds into the game. Or was it 28? No, yeah, it was 32 seconds into the game. That wrister from the top of the circle, and it was like from my line of vision, you could completely see that, the open ice, and you just absolutely bar down, huge goal there. That had to be, I always say, I always joke about people saying, how did it feel? Well, it's got to feel good. But in a case like that, it's even a little different because you're setting the tempo, you're setting the pace. The whole bench is, they're jacked up, you're jacked up. That's like, all right, this is our game, we got this. That had to be a huge moment.
Yeah, I mean, I was very lucky to get to experience that early on. The puck bounced right out to me, and everything bounced perfectly my way, and I'm just very blessed that I got to experience that pretty quickly on.
What are you looking at when you take that shot? Are you looking, you're seeing, because there's nobody. Usually, oftentimes there's bodies in front of the goaltender or whatever else, but in that case, it was almost like a breakaway. There was nobody in front of you. Are you looking at the corner? Are you looking at, where you want to put that?
I looked up, and the goalie was kind of cheating a little to the left, and so that right side was really open, and I think I got a little help from the defender's stick. I think the defender's stick may have deflected it up a little higher, so I think that would have helped me a little bit too.
Right on. That was awesome. A huge moment to score that early on. Before I go into the rest of the questions that I want to ask you, state tournament. Minnesota high school hockey is huge. We all know that. Everybody in the hockey world knows how big Minnesota high school is. High school hockey is, but high school that tournament that fills the XL Center and so on. And you come off of a state championship win with Edina. We've had one other player that I can remember, Joel Molinar from Bloomington, about 5 years ago, I would say, roughly, that he won the state championship, and a week later he's with the Aberdeen Wings. And similar situation for you. What's that like? You're at the epitome of high school hockey, and you win that with your teammates and stuff, and then you come on to junior hockey just a short time later. That's got to be kind of a weird transition.
Yeah, it's definitely easier transition after winning the state championship because you're not sad leaving your hometown. But honestly, I think it gave me more confidence coming into here because there's a lot of Minnesota guys that were aware of that happening, so it gave me something to talk about with these guys and kind of like an icebreaker. Yeah, it just gave me confidence on the ice to know my ability.
That's interesting. And that actually leads me to another question I'm going to get to in just a little bit. But that's funny because I was thinking the other way around. I was thinking that if you win and you're celebrating and you're a hero of Edina and you want to be with your teammates and want to be on all that celebratory stuff and you're rolling on to to go play juniors, you kind of miss out on some of those things in some ways. And maybe if you lost or were knocked out in the second round or something, it'd be like, all right, now's my chance to go play at another level. That would be a little bit more exciting, but you're like, it's the other way around.
Well, I think there's a lot of people on our team. Almost all the seniors are going off to play juniors too, and we still got our team after party right after we won that night, and I actually did get to go on spring break with a lot of my friends too. Okay. So I got a good week to celebrate and be happy about it, and then I was ready to get back to hockey and come here.
Worked out well. Good timing right there. Well, we had you on mic'd up. We saw you on mic'd up. And Ryan, of course, does that and does a great job with it. You've been playing since you were 4 years old. You haven't had any family members or anything like that really influenced you, but being from Minnesota, it's sort of in your blood. It's just, I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. But what have been some big influences in your life as you grew up, as you started to skate and started to, when you're 8 years old, when you're 10 years old, whatever? Is there somebody that you really looked up to or somebody that maybe has helped you along the way?
Yeah, well, my neighbors when I was little were also on the varsity team, the Edina varsity team, and it was Dylan Malmquist. I don't know if you know that name. He was the captain at Notre Dame.
I do know that name.
He was friends with my neighbor, and so like all the Edina hockey guys would be skating on my backyard rink. Like
another Minnesota guy with a backyard rink. Yeah. Big surprise, folks. Big shocker. A Minnesota guy with a backyard rink. I can't hardly believe it.
Everybody has one, but yeah, just playing with those guys, and then like Liam Malmquist was always over there too. He plays at St. Thomas right now, and he used to be at Wisconsin. So I think growing up, I always wanted to be like those guys, and I wanted to make the varsity team, and that was like my main goal.
Right on. Some big time influences there for sure. That's very cool. All right, and you talked about it a little bit in Mic'd Up too, about the, the differences between high school hockey and this junior level. And I always find this very interesting because I've known some guys and I've talked to some guys I've talked to a lot of guys over the years, I suppose, but there's some that even off the mic and away from things, they'll be like, I'm not getting the minutes that I thought I would. I'm not, whatever. And I've explained to it a couple of different ways, but usually it's this. And you said it in Mic'd Up. Everybody in this locker room was a star at their school. Everybody was a star at their level because they're moving to this level. And when you're used to being that captain, that guy that gets all the minutes and that is on the power play or whatever else, and you come to this level and you're not getting the same minutes, it's sort of hard to compartmentalize or to kind of understand. But the reality is, when you're a stud in high school or whatever level you came from, and you come up to another level, everyone in this locker room is the same. So it's a little different. How has that been? Have you been able to go, okay, I get it. These guys are fast. They're, the level, the physicality, the speed, all of those things are a little bit elevated. What's that been like?
Going into this, I knew I wouldn't come in here and already have a huge role. I expected this to be the case, and fortunately at Edina, I actually already got to experience this when I came in as a sophomore. I also didn't play, and I had to work my way up through the ranks. So I came here, and I'm just going to have to trust the process that eventually my time will come.
That's a great outlook, and it's a great reference too. As you go into a varsity team as a younger player, it is very similar in that way for sure. Coming in late in the season, really like you have, what's the welcome been like? Who's the guy that's been like, hey man, I'll show you the ropes? Are there some guys that have kind of stood out in the locker room?
Yeah, all the Minnesota guys, it was very easy coming in with them because they all know about the state championship, so they're all very nice about that. Especially Gravy, who sits right here. He likes to chirp me a lot about the state championship because he also won a state championship.
I can't believe Gravy would chirp anybody ever. He's the nicest guy.
Well, yeah. And then Croy, he's my billet, or I stay with him in the billet house. So he was the first person that I met coming here, and he's been super helpful for me coming in here. And he's also from Minnesota. Another kid that's been super good to me is Grant Conan, another Minnesota kid. But there hasn't really been anybody that hasn't been welcoming. I don't think so.
I wouldn't think anybody could. But it's just interesting how sometimes people are a little more welcoming than others. But I find that interesting too, that even GK or Grant Conan, that everybody. I think that's the third time I've heard somebody say that he's one of the first people that's like, hey, just nice guys that are, and that's so great because it's hard coming in late in the season. These guys have been here since August, a lot of them anyway. And so that's pretty cool. All right, we've talked plenty here about hockey and about your start and all of that sort of stuff. I'm going to ask you some goofy questions now. Are you ready?
Yep.
Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
No ghosts.
No, not really.
No hauntings. No nothing. Nobody's ever nothing that you've ever known or anybody that you've ever known has been scared by something that they can't explain.
I mean, I see things like that, and I just think that they're all made up and staged. I don't really. I mean, I like watching horror movies because, like, they used to terrify me, but like now they're all kind of the same plot, and I don't really believe in it.
But it's okay. What now? Okay, now this is off. I did not have this written, but I've got to go off in another direction. There's different horror movies. There's the slasher kind, where some whack job is out there killing people, and then there's the paranormal kind, where the doll all of a sudden starts moving and stuff. Which one's more scary to you?
Definitely the like slasher murderer stuff.
Really?
Well, that's more realistic.
Oh,
like, that could happen. There could be a psycho that comes to you. But
that is true.
Paranormal stuff, I just don't really believe in. So.
I'm a hard pass on that. I get what you're saying because it is more realistic, but man, when something starts moving and some weird stuff starts happening, that I can't explain. That scares the hell out of me here. But anyway, all right. How about aliens? You think we're alone in the universe? Heck, our universe is small. We've got all kinds of space out there. Are we alone?
No, I don't really believe in like the UFO sightings and that there's ones anywhere on Earth.
Even though the government literally came out and said there are UFOs. They came out and said that.
I might want his like 5 minutes of fame. I don't know if he's telling the truth, but I feel like there's definitely life somewhere in the universe. But
all right, now Bigfoot, real or not real?
I'm gonna say not real. I don't think so. I think there could be maybe a big animal that's similar, but I don't think it's the way it's depicted in like the fairy tales. But
I'm with you on that. By now, we'd have found a body or something like.
Actually, funny story. One of my online classes is called Myth or Science, and I just had to answer that question if I think Bigfoot is real, if I think like a Yeti is real, and my answer for all of them, and a Loch Ness Monster, my answer for all of it was like, well, if it was real, I think we would have hard evidence at this point. So.
I mean, Bigfoot has been around, or the story of Bigfoot and Yeti and stuff have been around forever. Same thing with Loch Ness Monster. Literally since the 20s and 30s, people have been saying that they've been seeing Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster. By now, you'd think there'd be some physical proof, so I'm with you on that, man. I'm with you. All right, what's your playlist look like? You a country guy? You a rock guy? What's your music?
I think I have a very wide range of music. I think my number one is country.
Yeah.
Like every time I'm driving in the car, I listen to country music, but it varies because I mean in the summer if I'm out on like my boat, then I'll listen to like more upbeat like EDM or house music, whatever you want to call it. Before games, I'll listen to like rap and hip hop. So it kind of just depends on the mood. I have a playlist for almost every mood possible.
Right on. All right. Follow-up question. Country, your go-to. Are you like new country, pop country, like Luke Combs kind of stuff, or are you like old school country, like George Strait?
Almost all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the people I listen to the most is newer country, like Zach Bryan and Morgan Wallen. But I mean, I grew up at the cabin listening to my parents' country music, so like I also like the older country music too.
Well, I want to have a beer with your parents. Listen to some old school country. Love that. All right, I'm keeping you here for a while, but a couple of quick other questions. Besides hockey, like take hockey out of the equation, because I always, I hate asking somebody this and then, what their dream is to continue to play hockey, obviously. But what do you want to do with, like your life after hockey? What's your dream job?
I think I just want to work anything that can be remote, and like my biggest fear is working in a 9-to-5 in like an office.
In like a cubicle?
Yeah, I think I would want to do anything that allows me to travel, because like my dream is to see all 63 national parks. So my plan after hockey is to live in a Sprinter van and just travel around for a few years. So
you got a hippie mentality going on there. Love that though. That's cool. Now again, follow-up question. What if you, of all the national parks, what are your top 2? What are the first 2 you're going to go to?
Well, last summer I started this plan and I went on a road trip and I saw the Yellowstone, Grand Tetons. I saw
Jackson Hole, beautiful area.
Yeah, that was, I think the Tetons have been my favorite so far. I saw Voyageurs National Park up in Minnesota, and what's the last one? Wind Cave and the Badlands. So I saw a lot of national parks.
Yeah, you've already knocked a bunch out.
Yeah, and I saw more when I was younger, but I don't count those. Yeah, I'm starting now because I want to remember them. So.
Grand Canyon is one that always sticks out to me that I really want to see that. I'd really like to see the Grand Canyon. I haven't seen that, but yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. All right, playoff atmosphere. Back to hockey. We're getting back to the real stuff here. Talked to Coach Langer here a little bit ago about the atmosphere. You played in Bismarck. And it's a different world in a lot of ways, certainly from North Iowa, especially last weekend. Now, in seasons past, last season, North Iowa's been a little bit more boisterous and raucous and so on, but Bismarck's going to be a different atmosphere for sure. How do you guys, as players, mentally prepare for that? Or is it, as Coach said, for him, he doesn't hear anything. He doesn't hear the noise. He's just focused on the game. Is that or can you get distracted by, the crowd, or not distracted maybe isn't the best word, but even motivated? I've talked to some guys that have said they love playing in a barn that is really booing and that kind of stuff because it kind of juices you up. What are your thoughts about this weekend?
I mean, I think it can be different for everybody, but for me at least, I love the big crowds. I think that gets me going more, and for the most part, I don't think I really hear much of what the crowd has to say, so it doesn't really bother me that much.
Right.
But yeah, I think the booing and stuff like that is kind of funny actually, and it does kind of get me going. So.
You guys are all wired a little different. I swear, that's funny because I've heard that several times. That people are like, man, it actually gets me going. The more they boo, the more they heckle us, the more excited I am, and the better I want to play. So, all right. Well, we got a few quick notes here. Again, Robinson Cup playoffs, round 1, games 1 and 2 at the Bismarck Bobcats at the VFW Center. 7:15 puck drop both nights. Watch at City Lights Bar and Event Center in Aberdeen on 2nd Street, or by logging in to NAHLTV.com. Listen to 94.1 The Rock, HubCityRadio.com, or on the Rock app on your phone anywhere. All you have to do is just go to your app, your app on your phone, and search The Rock, 94.1 The Rock, and you can download it and listen anywhere. So check that out. Then Friday, of course, on the final, not the final, but for sure, a guaranteed Friday home game here at the ODI Center. April 26th, Bismarck Bobcats. That's game 3. Corporate sponsor that night is Hub City Radio. 2023-2024 Wings trading card giveaway at the door. First 100 fans will receive a package of team trading cards. Not sold at the Pro Shop this year, so this is the only chance to get them, so that's pretty cool. So check that out. Saturday, April 27th versus the Bismarck Bobcats. Game 4, if necessary. More details to come. We're not sure, of course, on game 4. We're hoping that the Wings can at least win 1 or 2 up in Bismarck and maybe push that on to where, there isn't a game 4 and sweep the Bobcats. But either way, then game 5, if necessary, would be Monday, April 29th in Bismarck. So that's the way the schedule looks, folks. Sponsorships and reserve season tickets are now available for the 2024-2025 season. Call Aaron at 605-380-5852 for more information. And for all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit AberdeenWings.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or X as they're calling it now, or as Elon Musk has changed the name, and on Instagram. Plus, you're probably watching this on YouTube. You can check it out there. Thank you so much, Ryan Flaherty, and congratulations on a huge goal to get your team really jacked up and juiced and jamming there on Saturday night. So thank you and welcome to Aberdeen, and good luck against the Bobcats.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that'll wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.